Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello viewers, welcome back to this ESD course, NPTEL ESD course on sustainable cities and communities. In the last class, we were discussing about the characteristics of sustainable cities and communities. So, to continue with that, we have already discussed some of the characteristics features. To continue with that, now the seventh, another aspect of sustainable cities are like the accessible public resources. Public resources, that means the society not just only be the inclusive society with energy efficient amenities and the technology etc., but also all the resources would be equally available, equally accessible to all the stakeholders. That is why public health buildings like hospitals, like they are in the smart cities. I can say the smart cities, the sufficient number of health facilities in terms of nursing homes, in terms of hospitals, health buildings would be available for the public, public health access. Economic development of the centers also, not only just job creation and the startups and other kinds of skill development programs, and the technology hubs like for example, for our day to day activities, suppose internet centers, some of the digital printing, internet and all kinds of the digital platform technology hubs would also be available within the reach of all stakeholders. So, these are all these kind of resources in terms of not just in terms of the products, but also services should be accessible for the public use. So, public health buildings, economic centers, technology hubs, you can say, and food storage, foodstuffs storage, this would be available to all the stakeholders, all the citizens within the reach. So, water conservation, similarly water conservation not just from the water providing the drinking water through through the river, through the government or the cities or the municipalities or the water management system, but also rainwater harvesting system. Infrastructure should be there, green infrastructure should be there, waterless hardwares. Often in the factories and the industries also we can use we can minimally use the use the water, so that we can explore the waterless hardwares. So, for the industry, for the transport, for the all kinds of the things, how can we minimize our water use, or how can we minimize the water usage, as well as we can harvest, we can conserve the water through rainwater harvesting, and through storage for the safe drinking water, and all kinds of systems and infrastructure should also be developed. And public green spaces in terms of in cities from within the 2 kilometers, and within the colonies within the 2 to 5 kilometers, there are the city parks gardens, playgrounds for the children. So, public green space should also be developed, developed as a part of smart cities and the sustainable cities. So, waste management is another most important thing, is the waste management. Yes, definitely in the large cities and the urban cities, because of the large population, the waste creations are also a lot of waste are being created, but how to manage it? Waste management, recycling, waste management, that is also we have to, that means technologies are so that means established technology, or you can say efficient technology should also be available to manage the waste, then only it can take care of the pollution, minimizing the pollution. So, here you can see, as you can see from from this thing, sustainable cities aim to reverse the negative impact of urbanizations. Yes, urbanization, with the urbanization also, it not only gives the facilities to us in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of our consumption, in terms of amenities available, in terms of shopping behavior, in terms of purchasing the behavior and entertainment, all kinds of things are there. But again, at the same time, it has to focus on minimizing the negative impact, that is to reverse back, or you can say how to transform this negative impact into the positive assets. So, that is why the sustainable cities should aim to focus on the consuming the fewer resources, yes, which are minimal, that is the minimal food. So, food wastage, again food wastage is a very, you can say big issue, big issue is a very big issue, very sensitive issue, very critical issue in our country, because because we are so many, so a certain percentage of the people, they are living in the below poverty line, and they are not they don't have the access to the good food, healthy foods, etc. They don't have, even if the law prescribes the right to food, but they are not getting it. So, we should not waste the water. So, how food products how to minimize the food wastage, and how to sustainably use the food products, that is so that is one example. But consuming the fewer resources in terms of water, in terms of energy, in terms of food resources, etc. So, similarly, fighting the climate change in terms of renewable energy, in terms of sustainable energy through solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, etc., and reducing the greenhouse gases with minimizing the pollution and addressing the pollution and addressing to the waste management system. Then creating a sense of place, creating a sense of space, not just like from place to place within few kilometers, within the reach of small communities in the urban cities. They must have the green space, green space, not just to play, but to also to sit comfortably. To that also promotes the social connectedness, social relationship, participation, and also for the healthy living condition also. So, these are some of the amenities and the facilities and activities that can be introduced to the urban city planning and the communities, sustainable communities. So, why are the sustainable cities are important? Okay. So, why the sustainable cities are important? Because nowadays more and more urban cities are getting more and more crowded because of no opportunity for economic opportunities, job opportunities, health facilities, education facilities. So, nowadays more people from the remote areas, rural areas are coming to the cities and migrate to the cities for not just for the employment, economic, that means for earning their livelihood, for also for education, higher education, and the health facilities. So, here you can say cities occupy just the 3% of Earth's land, but yet account for 60 to 80% of energy consumption. Yes, more populated cities and the towns will definitely energy consumption will be higher. So, 60 to, even though it consists of 3% of the Earth's space, but 60 to 80% energy consumption takes place in the cities. Similarly, 90% of the urban inhabitants are breathing in unsafe air, with the transport, with the pollution, with the air, poor quality of air, with the carbon emissions, all these things are. So, that is 90% of the people on urban inhabitants, they breathe bad air, bad unsafe air, including 4.2 million deaths being caused annually because of this. That is in case of the senior citizens, the breathing problem, the lungs problem, because of the carbons in the air, because of the polluted air inhalation. So, that is the major, again another health issue, also major threat to the life also. Similarly, bold climate action could deliver at least 26 trillion in economic benefits. Similarly, if you can take the bold action in terms of zero carbon emission, carbon neutrality, addressing the waste and pollution issues, management of the pollution, that the quality improvement in the air pollution, then water pollution, water treatment, drinking water treatment, air quality, and even the industrial waste management. If you can take the bold action, climate action, so that definitely it is going to help us not just in health aspects, not in social aspects, but also economic benefits also. By 2030, we can address this, we can get the $26 trillion benefit out of this. So, there are three ways of sustainable cities aim to create the positive change. Yes, social connectedness, inclusive society, togetherness, collective well-being is one aspect. Environmental impact, not just a conservation of resources, but environmental sustainability, environmental, that means protection, ecosystem, sustainable ecosystem, and neutralizing the or reversing the climate change impact, minimizing the carbon, etc. That is one thing. And economic solutions for not just for the economic solutions in terms of growth, in terms of higher GDP, in terms of job opportunity, in terms of green jobs, more green jobs. So, these will be the economic solutions. So, these are the three main ways ways the sustainable cities can focus and can be developed. Similarly, in urban cities transportation, transportation is a major issue, is a major factor. So, how can the affordable public transit take place? Transportation or the transit can take place affordable and public. Nowadays, in big cities also the government, government or private sector buses, the buses are going on from one place to another place. So, the city buses are there, city transport buses are there, where with city buses transports, you can not only commute to your workplace and home, but also the other vehicles, that means the uses of the personal vehicles or the carbon emissions can be reduced, and with the nearby areas etc., with the cycling, with the walking etc., that can also be minimized. So, the government can introduce the eco buses for the public transport. Similarly, vehicle charging stations are should be there for battery charged vehicles, or the solar vehicle or hydrogen vehicles, or wind power instruments. So, vehicle charging stations should be there, walkable and bikeable neighborhoods should be also be there, that in every community, in every neighborhood all these facilities should be developed, like the food market, vegetable markets, then the medicine shop and health facilities, and for all kinds of other education institutions, and the logistics and the amenities should be available, so that people can reach to the place either by walking or cycling etc. So, that is one aspect of transport, to take care of the transport facility. Second, energy management in terms of green infrastructure with energy efficiency platform. Then advanced water management, that is sufficient conservation of resources like water resources, water treatment, drinking water management in terms of safe and drinking water, air, water quality, all these things. Then the solar farms, nowadays for creating renewable and clean energy, solar farms and infrastructure are being installed in every city places, so that with minimum expenses or the cost effectiveness, how can we create more solar energy and utilize it in our for our transport, for our living, and for all kinds of electrical usage also. So, solar energy farms. So, in the energy management system, how can green infrastructure, water treatment, water management, and solar farms can help in planning, designing, and creating the sustainable cities. Then another is the public amenities in terms of accessible public resources, then green municipal buildings, public green space in terms of parks, gardens, playgrounds for the children, and also green space, and green space in the common public areas. So, that public amenities not only just available, but also create kind of eco-friendly atmosphere, so that even the pedestrians can also can take some rest, and so that again also with the greenery in the cities also, the public green space also can absorb the carbon footprints, carbon gases, or the carbon gas emissions, and can absorb it and can maintain the air quality, or can bring the purity, cleanliness in the air quality. That is another thing. So, then next you can see, yes, this is the, however, these urban cities, because so many factors are involved, starting from climate change to air quality, pollutions to air quality, water, then energy, and health facilities, education. So, the system is a very complex system. So, complex dynamics between cities and the climate change. As you can see, cities with the population growth, with the migration, more and more migration, immigration, socio-economic development, etc., that is the things. And it has the activities, that means it demands pressure from the excessive water use is there, urban agriculture required, wastewater management, land use change, then transportation, excessive energy use, waste management, all these are the key issues, how it is going to be managed. Then again at the other end also climate change impacts are there in terms of increasing temperature, weather condition is very hot, hot weathers, climate then temperature, daily temperature, increasing temperature, and frequent rainfall, frequent disasters, frequent calamities, then change in the rainfall pattern, or the climatic change, and sea level rise, extreme weather, unpredictable weather conditions, all these it has an impact. So, at the same time we have to restore, conserve our waters, that is water security, food security, energy security, human health security, then human society security, then infrastructure, energy security, all kinds of security, how to ensure all these kind of security of the resources and the facilities. So, that is why, so we have to take the common urban challenges. Now, looking at the cities and the common urban cities, so many common challenges are, because of the overpopulation, congestion, lack of funds to provide the basic services, shortage of adequate housing, then because of the migrated laborers and migrated laborers and the, so for their accommodation. Okay, now, so more and more slums are being developed and the government is it's for the government, it's a challenge, real challenge to give them the concrete housing, and you can say how to convert these slums to into the permanent kind of residence for them. And not only it requires money, but also space, public space or the space within the city. So, this is a major, these are the major challenges, not just a congestion, but also building the providing adequate housing, affordable housing and infrastructure, and infrastructure. So, not only that, but for also give them the opportunity for the working for the jobs, employment opportunities, and the services, and maintaining all kinds of discipline. So, these are the real challenges in sustainable city, in the big cities. So, that is how can we overcome these things, how can we face this kind of hurdles, how can we mitigate these kind of challenges and the problems. Not only we have to improve the resource uses, sustainable use of resources, but also reducing the pollution, reducing the poverty, and providing them the all the citizens in the rural citizens, that means in the citizens, especially the lower class or the lower socioeconomic people, they have to provide them the job opportunity, the skill training, and give them the opportunity. So, provide the access to basic services, energy, housing, housing facilities, transportation, and more opportunity for all. So, these providing them these kind of things in the cities, it is also a biggest challenge. How can we do it? Because more and people, because in the urban cities so many facilities are available, people are migrating from the rural areas to the cities. As you can see, the best example is that during pandemic, how the because of the closure of the factories, etc., from the Gujarat and other cities, Maharashtra, how the laborers they are they are again coming, they were coming back to the hometown, and how much problems, financial health, and how so many critical problems that we have had to face in these 2 years 2021. So, how to mitigate these challenges? So, these are challenges. How first thing is that we need enough of resources, sufficient enough of resources to mitigate, that means to face these challenges. At the same time, to restore, not just to provide them the services and resources, but to restore it and give them equal opportunity to all, that is also another challenge. So, here you can see the density, like for example, suppose that this is a city and there is a density level. So, it is related to different categories of people, like for is the more and more homes are required. So, in the cities reduces the housing shortage for all the citizens, even for the labor class people, also even from the for the migrant workers there. So, people, there's more in the so increasing people in the more people they are living in the neighborhoods, then increase supply of the services, and and locally, because largest customer base also increases. Then similarly, walking in cycle distance, so more space are also required. Simple day-to-day lifeline with more functions, more space is also required. Similarly, public transport system has to be strengthened. Then then movement, more movement during the daytime, and even in the evening times also. It not only just creates the crowd, traffic congestion, crowd, etc., but also security requirement also. So, that is another thing. So, increased variety of cultures, shops, and public services, these are also another factor. City life in the urban environments, more and city life in terms of facilities, in terms of shopping complex, in terms of opportunities, entertainment opportunities, malls and all kinds of things. City life, how to lead a city life for all of that, for every citizen. City life, or in terms of not just in terms of basic amenities, but also entertainment facilities, health facilities, recreation facilities, these are anything. Parks and playground, how enough of better parks and greenery and playgrounds to be created. Then attractive, what is attractive is desirable and reasonable price. Then again price, economic price, the land values, that is where the urban cities, in the urban cities now cost of the cost of the private houses, that means the cost of housing is very expensive, and the land rate of the lands and the housing rate of the housing also skyrocketing is, their prices are skyrocketing because of the shortage of the space, shortage of the infrastructure and housing facilities, and the more population or overpopulation. So, how to mitigate this? So, that is a increasing motorization not only brings problems related to congestion, travel times, fuel consumption, pollutants, emissions, etc., environmental degradation. It also causes other kinds of health issues like road safety is again road safety, traffic congestion, and then the accidents, rate of injuries, deaths, accidents. These are the some of the also major critical factors that is happening in and around the cities. So, that is the effort to address the housing informality by adopting a strategy of granting the legal titles to the land. So, all kinds of litigation, legal complications and litigations with regard to the the ownership and ownership of the lands and the settlements. So, all these are the critical legal complications are also emerging because of the shortage of the scarcity of the land, and all kinds of corruptions, all of the corruptions and illegal practices are also being are also happening due to the shortage of lands and the building infrastructure. So, then that is why, so how to reduce this quantitative housing deficit, mainly through demand side subsidies. So, it is not just the providing the subsidies in terms of the ration, in terms of the day to day goods etc., but also in terms of housing facility, in terms of the housing. So, especially the quantitative housing deficit for the migrant workers, like in the urban slum areas, how the it's again politically very sensitive issue, so they cannot be thrown out of their illegal occupation of the government land, but how they have to be rehabilitated in the in creation of different creation of the new colonies and residential colonies, and the government how in the sharing in the partnership also how government is also shifting them from one location to relocate them in the constructed in the flats, in the residential flats, housing colony for the migrated workers, for the low socioeconomic people, those who have actually who are the migrated laborers and the workers who have forcibly occupied this government public space of the government space in the in the roadside, in the campus boundaries, and so and so. So, that is also again another challenge, not just a political issue, but also economical, financial, and the critical issue also. So, that is another challenge. So, inclusive, that therefore, all these kind of things should be planned properly and managed properly with more equal opportunity, job opportunities and fair practices. It is a very complex system. That is why inclusive cities must be designed carefully with the spatial distribution, and while taking into account the complexity and diversity of the daily needs of the people, and who are the inhabitants, who are the residents, what is their background, where from they have come, what is their practices, day to day practices of living their earning their livelihood. So, all these are things to be taken care of and taken into consideration, and accordingly city planning and construction should take place. So, these are some of the major challenges, you can say. So, again city resilience and sustainable development, again city resilience, because we have to make the cities more resilient towards the natural disasters. So, you can say similarly good urban governance is a factor, economic resilience is a factor, socio-political resilience is a factor, decentralization is a factor, then urban development and engagement, that is also factors. All these are the key factors. These 5 domains are the key factors. If we can maintain all these 5 domains, then only we can make our cities more resilient and sustainable. So, these are the challenges: lack of clean energy resources, lack of safe drinking water, sanitation. These are in the slum dwellings, these are the challenges. Similarly, difficulties in creating locally appropriate institutional legal framework, legal structures, for imposing like this Swachh Bharat, introducing Swachh Bharat will not help us in such a way unless and until we impose it, we enforce the people in terms of some not just in terms of advocating and propagating, but in terms of some kind of legal implications, so some kind of punishment, some kind of penalty, then only we can ensure that it will be implemented. So how to, because how to make it a part of the practice, the sooner we can adopt it, then we can get the benefit out of it. Similarly, poorly planned and managed urbanization also it leads to the low density separation of land use, mismatch between the infrastructure and maintenance. Again, creating the infrastructure is one thing, but maintaining that infrastructure, that is another challenge. So then so there is no the proper plan, that means residential concentration. In some areas people will be accumulated, or slum areas in between, in the center of the heart of the cities, the slum areas gradually develop. So it also requires legal monitoring and vigilance and all kinds of the governance issues. So these how the people should not encroach the public space, they should not encroach the public, that means public road and network, etc., unethically or illegally. So a close monitoring system and monitoring and evaluation system, vigilance system is also very much required. So similarly, opportunities are also there. Like you can see urban planning. In urban planning, you can see the green areas are there, buildings are there, compact cities buildings, energy efficiency centers are there, provision of renewable energy, mobility, infrastructure, waste management, food security, water security. These are the things are there. Urban planning should take into consideration all these n number of factors. Starting from the green areas to water to energy to food to waste management to mobility and transport, infrastructure, all kinds of things should be taken into account if in the domain of urban planning and architecture. So opportunities are also there. So public policies also must address the problems of the cities. Of course, the problems will vary from context to context, from the different communities, slightly vary, but the basic things will be common. So public policies must address the problems of the cities, organized and consistent urban planning, monitoring, evaluation, that should be also there to encourage the dense contiguous development age of the urban areas, to monitor the impact on environment, etc. Similarly, that is where a multi-dimensional approach should be developed, should be based. So that is where the concept of the cities planning, urban planning should be based on multi-dimensional approach, in the sense that all this, how this social, economic and cultural interactions, all these three drivers can be well maintained, enabling and making capable of fostering the productive growth and sustainable development all levels. How this ecological balance in terms of socio-economic and cultural interactions can take place. Similarly, inclusion of time use analysis in urban planning. So there is also ultimately the surveys and the studies should also be carried on in terms of its time use analysis, by using the time use analysis in urban planning, infrastructure and usage. So you can here some of the recommendations are there to give this SDG. How can we achieve the SDG 11? These are the factors, some of the factors, that is the smart city and urban planning. These are the smart city and urban planning. Nowadays through artificial intelligence, IoT platform, Internet of Things platform, aggregator. This is the this is a you can say example of how the environment, economic and all kinds of things can be balanced. Smart home, smart parking, weather and water system also very very sustainable. Then the traffic control like a centralized traffic control, vertical traffic control, environmental pollution can also be minimized, noise, surveillance, then you can say smart parking. Everything has been planned through the IoT, monitored through the IoT platform. So these are the design of the smart cities and the urban planning. So how to how to leverage the technology for urban planning and the smart cities. So here you can say the greater investment in public transport system and infrastructure is required. Similarly, to improve and ensure the urban space worldwide to make it more inclusive, more safe, more resilient and sustainable. Similarly, reducing the gaps between poor and rich and how to address the diversity, how to address the needs of different populations, there are different groups, categories of stakeholders, and how there are different uses of time, space and services can be taken into account. Similarly, the environmental social impacts must be considered in the design, urban planning and design, and now how to leverage the technology in urban planning, monitoring, vigilance, and also exploring the new platforms, new opportunities, new things to sustain it for the longer period. So, these are some of the goals, indicators. As you can see, these are already given there. Make the cities, human settlements inclusive and safe. These are the under goal 11 also there are different targets. These are the targets, as you can see, 11.1, 11.2, 3, 4, and the indicators, like you say, proportion of urban population living in slums, informal settlement or inadequate housing. These are the indicator globally. Regional indicator can be average time in the minutes spent in commuting, like in big cities like the Mumbai's, all the Delhi's or the all metros, etc. Similarly, indicator 3 at the global level, again ratio of the land consumption and rate of the population growth, the equation between the land available in the cities and the growth of the population. So, that is the ratio. So, these kind of things, then indicators between also economic infrastructure, critical infrastructure, promotion, then promotion of the municipal solid waste management, solidities, then the annual main level of the fine particular matters in terms of cities like the population weightage, GDP, proportion of the person of the victims, accidents, sexual harassment, like the safeties and the health issues, disability status of the people. So, these are the things available, these are the indicators which are available in the global metadata, and so that we can taking into consideration the global metadata as per the parameter indicators. So, how these target goal SDG 11's all the targets can be achieved. So, similarly, it also target 11A advocates for the positive economic, social, environmental links between the urban, peri-urban, peri-urban, that is semi-urban, rural areas by strengthening the national and the regional development planning. Then target 11B also advocates for how sustainability increases the number of cities and human settlements, adopting the implementing integrated policies, plans towards the inclusion, resource efficiency, mitigation, adaptation to climate change, resilience to disasters, etc. And then target 11C also, it advocates for support the least developed countries, including through financial and technical assistance. So, like the developing and the developed nation, how to assist the developing nations in terms of financial resources, in terms of technology, in terms of other kinds of infrastructure guidance. So, in building the sustainable and resilient buildings, utilizing the